That was Greg Crick. He experienced a few problems in heat number 1. Likewise, Russell Ingall.
Yeah, just a few. It's my first touring car shunt in a race, so it was interesting, I'll tell you.
The starting straight's not a very long one, and we, of course, go into the right-hander. It's incredibly close, isn't it?
Yeah, I must admit it was. There was 3 cars going into a one-car corner, and she didn't quite work. You know, it was a shame because I got a really good start, got inside Gardner, past him, and got past Romano, and you know, she would have been looking good for a good finish because we just checked the lap times then, and overall in the distance I was faster than Gardner. So, you know, even though I was sort of lapping back, but you know, what can I say? At least we'll try and come through a bit now.
Yeah, a little bit of work ahead. Russell Ingall, we wish you all the best. Russell Ingall, as I said, does have a lot of work. There's some big guns up ahead. Let's have a look at the grid.
Well, Holden Racing are on the front row. Craig Lowndes and Peter Brock share the honours there. Alan Jones and Glenn Seaton on the second row. Row 3 occupied by Wayne Gardner and John Bowe. Fourth row, Mark Scaife and Tony Longhurst. And the top 10 rounded out by Stephen Richards, the top privateer in Heat 1, and Larry Perkins.
Seconds away from the start of Heat 2, round 8 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. The Holden Racing team domination continues. 1-2 on the grid as they wait for the green light. There's the green. Craig Lowndes makes his usual rocket start from pole position and will lead the pack down into the corner for the first time. Bowe gets through. And Brock's through cleanly as well. Seaton on the outside of the pack leader forward as they shuffle their way through the S's and up toward the hill for the first time. So Lowndes, another lightning start from pole position as he did in Heat 1. And he's got Peter Brock right behind him.
Rough ride there for Mark Scaife, bouncing off a few curbs as they were getting underway, but managing to maintain his position.
Down toward Cold Corner, Craig Lowndes. Very much in command of round 8 at Wanneroo here this afternoon. Peter Brock in second. There's the pack leader forward of Alan Jones in third. Seaton in fourth. Bowe in fifth. Wayne Gardner in sixth. And Mark Scaife up behind the Coca-Cola Holden. So a good competitive run from these two as they come down toward Yokohama corner for the first time. Alan Jones flame belching from the exhaust of Bowe's car as they come across the start-finish line to complete one of 20 laps. Hard under brakes now for Bridgestone corner. Well, Seaton looking strong and competitive here. He said he'll fight right to the last lap of the last race in this championship. Still lacking for a bit of horsepower in the championship chase this year, but he gets some new John Sidney built engines, maybe at Oran Park, but certainly for the endurance races to come. The Ford Credit Falcon looking more and more competitive as this championship unfolds.
Well, this is the same car that he drove to dominate this round here at Wanneroo last year. Same chassis anyway. It's had some pretty considerable engine modification since then.
Seaton coming into this round with 218 points. 258 for Bowe, ahead of him 281 for Lowndes. So he's got a lot of work to do, but with a maximum of 180 points on offer coming into this round, there's still a chance. And as long as he's got that chance, Seaton will keep fighting. Alan Jones just bumps a couple of wheels up on the ripple strip as he comes onto pit straight once again. Very impressive speed from the pack leader Fords. And I think, Bradley, this car is going to be looking very ominous at Bathurst.
I think he's would have to be happy with the progress that's made really over a short period of time. The last couple of races have basically come from nowhere to be right on the money for a Ford, and there's no love lost between Alan and Glenn. And, you know, they'll be fighting fairly hard for a position here, but both, I'd say, look very strong chances for Bathurst.
It was fascinating talking to Jim Stone, the engineer on Alan's car. Was saying yesterday they fully expected to come into this championship with Bridgestone tyres and just be instantly competitive, but they've basically had to re-engineer the car start from scratch.
In the car with Glenn Seaton, the number 30 Ford Credit Falcon. His difficulty here is that he's in the fourth slot behind Alan Jones, and AJ's not going to do him any favours at all when he tries to get by, which obviously he's setting himself up to do sometime in the next couple of laps if he's going to have any chance of bridging the gap on the series leader, Craig Lowndes, at the head of the field.
Well, Lowndes 3 laps down, operating in the mid-58 second bracket at this stage, as too is Jones and Seaton. Everyone behind them from Bowe backwards is up into the 59s already. So these 4 Bridgestone cars really proving the dominance of the Bridgestone tyres on this Wanneroo circuit. They've always been very strong here. That form is continuing in 96. Just looking at the back of Glenn Seaton's car, John Bowe in 5th position. fighting like fury, but you really can see his championship slowly slipping away from him in the west today. Over the rise, building up to about 230 kilometres an hour before they brake very hard for Yokohama. Back through the gears, and look at Seaton right up on the bumper of the pack. Oh, Jones gets a little bit sideways as Seaton keeps applying the pressure as they come across the line once again to complete 4 laps. Seaton now getting very aggressive with his former teammate. Seaton actually bumped into the back of the pack leader Falcon at Lakeside a couple of weeks ago, which bent an inlet into the radiator, caused the engine to overheat, so it would be a bit gun-shy in terms of trying to tap the back of Jones' car once again. You can see the back of the car get a little bit sideways and tries to get the power on over the top of the hill.
The car certainly is oversteering a little bit, which is an amazing thing. On most tyres, you know, when you do that and have the car sliding around the back, it burns them up, but the Bridgestone seems to be able to put up with it.
So the Holden Racing team bolting away, opening a bit of a gap over this battle for 3rd and 4th position. We've got Bow, Gardner, Scaife, Longhurst, Perkins and Richards up behind them. We take race cam in the Ford Credit Racing Falcon with Glenn Seaton as he tries to wear down Alan Jones. Very quick out of Yokohama corner, using all the road and then some as they pop the wheels up on the ripple strip on the way out.
Certainly able to outbrake him and looks to be carrying more corner speed across the corner, but AJ just gets on the gas, pulls to the inside and makes it a little bit harder for Glenn to try and find his way around.
Difficulty for Glenn Seaton is here that he's got John Bow closing the gap inexorably on him, and Wayne Gardner not far off the tail of John Bow's car. So if he can't get by Alan Jones pretty soon, this gap could close up and we're going to have a titanic 4-way tussle for these positions.
Well, we said in the earlier race, John Bow running quite a hodgepodge of different UK tyres. I think he was saying to me yesterday he's got a different compound on every corner of the car, just using up the last of the tyres that were produced by the Birmingham factory for last year's season.
And unfortunately for John, he wore out a left side rear in that earlier race, which is probably one of the reasons he was dropping back a little bit. Wayne Gardner, who was caught in a bit of a mix-up in the first race there, where he and Russell Ingall had a bit of a touch and Russell went off the road. It was just one of those things. Russell was on the dirt and tried to get back on the inside. Now we've got Seaton, who's just gone past Jones, and looking through the race cam, Jones is dropping back at such a rate, I'd say he's got a problem.
I thought for all the world it was Larry Perkins caught up in that first race incident. They disappeared off the track in a cloud of dust. Fortunately for Larry, he came out of it unscathed and finished in the top 10, finished 10th, in fact, in that heat. But boy, oh boy, Gardner and Ingall were both pretty hot under the collar about it.
Now, there's something going on here with Jones's car. Now, Seaton comes down. Oh, brake lock up. Big front brake lock up by Alan Jones there. I thought there might have been something wrong with the car at the pace that he went by.
Jones' teammate Paul Romano has just come into the pit lane as well, and here comes Bow down the inside. Yeah, Jones must have a problem here.
Well, I'd say his problem quite possibly would be that tyre, you know, or the brakes. He certainly doesn't want to relent and give JB that position, but that tyre would be flapping. Bang, 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 bang every time it goes round, and he'd be aware of that. He can't afford another brake lock-up because quite possibly it went down through the canvas. Whether or not he has a brake problem as well, which they have been suffering from for the last couple of races, we're not sure, but it certainly affected his speed. And
since getting by, Glenn Seaton has absolutely scooted away and left this trio for dead by about 60, 70 metres.
Last time around, Seaton actually fired off a lap a couple of tenths quicker than the Holden Racing team duo up front, so Glenn's got plenty of speed aboard in Heat 2. He's opening up the gap to this battle as well. Wayne Gardner looking consistent and competitive. Certainly had a strong showing in the first heat. He's right up behind the pack leader Ford now, running with Bow in tandem as they try and clean up the Queensland-based Ford of Alan Jones. So Jones apparently coping with some sort of problem. He's not knocking his speed around too much. He's hanging on to Bow. He's coming under fire from Gardner.
Half the length of the main straight between the front runners Lowndes and Brock and this trio.
So Lowndes, Brock, Seaton, Bow. As they switch up toward the hill once again. Just behind that group is Mark Scaife. So we take Seager Holden race cam, showing you that battle. Scaife in 7th. He's got Longhurst, Perkins and Richards behind him. Number of different battles raging throughout the top 10. Look, Alan Jones trying a run down the inside there when Racecamp didn't quite pull it off.
The race leader, Craig Lowndes, and he's doing it well from teammate Peter Brock. 1-2 this stage in the second heat. Glenn Seaton in third spot, John Bowers fourth, and Alan Jones in fifth place.
Wow, that was fantastic. Jones and Gardner banging into one another down the straight there, and Jones is in. I'd say he's in for tyres. He's just pulled up just in front of us. But that's opened the door for Gardner, who's now chasing. Yep, there it is. It's the left front. That was the problem. Now, when he locked that brake for such a long time, it goes through the canvas, and as I said, it could have been going down, but it certainly would have been knocking his speed around his ability to brake.
Well, he's steamed up about that big smoky slide as he gets the power on out of pit lane to try and get back into this battle, but he's lost a lot of time. Craig Lowndes, meanwhile, Peter Brock behind him as they run away once again. 3.5 seconds the gap last time around over Seaton. So we look at this wide shot and show you how the field has become quite spaced out. At the front, here's Seaton hanging on in third position. If he can bring another third home here, these points will be very valuable. But boys, if Lowndes continues to scoop up lots of 20 points at the front, no one's going to be able to touch him.
And in behind him, the danger for John Bowers that he's under attack from Wayne Gardner, and if he drops another place, he drops more points, and his chances in the championship are just out the window.
Glenn Seaton, car looking strong and balanced. Wanneroo Park this afternoon.
Slightly chipping away at the lead.
Glenn Seaton, it's been a good track for him. Wanneroo came here and won the championship round here last year, but by gee, the blokes up front have got a little bit on you thus far today, Glenn. Glenn can hear me, but we can't hear him. Problem with the microphone there in Glenn Seaton's car, unfortunately. Uh-oh. What have we got here?
Russell Ingall, he's certainly in the wars today. Shaking his head. After that little touch, as we mentioned in the start of the first heat, it looks like he's torn the front off it somewhere. I'm not sure whether he's gone off or...
Let's go back to Glenn Seaton. Glenn, you can hear us this time. The blokes up the front just got a little bit too much on you at this stage.
Yeah, they have, Gary. It's pretty hard to try and catch them. We're pushing things flat out all the way, but I think they're playing with us up the front.
Where do you think your car's lacking in comparison to the HRT cars, Glenn?
Just traction.
Yeah.
Traction, and at the moment, horsepower. We haven't got a lot of power at the moment, but we've got a new engine coming on stream that John Sydney is working on, and it's looking very promising. So I'm looking forward to the endurance races.
Glenn, I'm sure you don't share secrets, but do you run the same compound as the HRT cars? You know, your tyres the same sort?
Yeah, they got the same compound this weekend, so they didn't at Lakeside, but this weekend they have, so it's a pretty equal comparison at the moment.
So how is it their traction so much better than yours?
They've got it right and I've got it wrong, I suppose.
Oh, interesting.
Not going to get any more out of you than that.
Fantastic job running third, Glenn. We'll let you go.
Yeah, thanks, Brad.
Glenn Seaton hanging on in this championship as he tries to close the gap to the Holden Racing Team steamroller out in the front. Meanwhile, John Bower coming under increasing fire from Wayne Gardner. This is the battle for fourth and fifth position.
And it's the Dunlop battle, really, to see who's going to win that. We see the front of Bower's car just bouncing up and down as he comes under brakes there. A little bit of shock control. But these cars, oh, you know, it looks like Bower's car is sliding around a lot at the moment. We see the tail step out there when he gets back on the noise. And Gardner would be seeing all this, and he'd be planning a move. JB's definitely hard to get around, but he did it just on the start-finish line, the last one, and we'll see what happens here.
Well, as that battle continues, we've got Andy Raymond with Russell Ingall in the pits.
Yeah, quite a disappointed Russell Ingall too, Marcos. The some work being done on the front of the car. Obviously, Bingle and the temperature's gone up and it's a bit out of control.
Yeah, I had a touch with a couple of cars at the front and off the start, and it tore the front bumper off. I think pieces were gradually coming off, and it wasn't getting any air to the radiator, so she started to overheat. So it's too risky. I mean, the engines are too expensive to stay out there, so came in and park it. But I'll tell you what, I've hit everything outstanding at the moment. I hope this is my one and only weekend of this effort.
Only get out of the way in case you hit me. We'll see you in heat number 3.
That's right. Thanks.
Good move, AJ. Over the top of the hill. Bow, he's got Gardner behind him, and while these two have been carving each other up, I think Scaife has managed to close the gap a little bit behind them, with Longhurst and the Castrol Falcon as well. We've got Perkins, Richards and Ellery making out the top 10. So Bow trying to fend off a Coke attack from Wayne Gardner. A lot of people didn't realise that horrific smash of Bow's at Phillip Island, he is actually resulted in lacerated kidneys. He's driving with a kidney belt over the last couple of races, and he really did take a hammering in that crash.
And by gee, look at this, Stephen Richards, the leading privateer in this race, right on Larry Perkins' hammer. This is the battle for 8th, 9th, and just in behind them, Stephen Ellery in 10th spot. So there's action aplenty in the second heat.
Yeah, there's a real battle going on here in the Privateers Cup, because there's our Privateers Cup points leader, Stephen Richards, with Stephen Ellery second in the points right behind him. So there's a battle within a battle happening here. Ellery will not want to let him get away.
Stephen Richards is very talented and a very aggressive young driver, and he'd be quite happy to be giving Larry Perkins a bit of hurry up here.
I think he'd be even happier to be in front of him, Wilco, and the way he's driving at the moment, it's very possible. It's a very small team that work unbelievably hard. They also run a super touring car, and at the moment they seem to be racing every weekend, but with that he's had a bit of a bad run off that ripple strip, which has opened the door for Ellery here.
Look at this big attack from Ellery, not quite fast enough in a straight line to get inside the Valvoline Commodore. And meanwhile, yeah, as we said, Scaife has managed to close the gap in this scrap between Gardner and Bow. So now we've got a threesome. Seeing a Holden race cam takes you to the tail of this battle. Scaife currently running in 6th, Gardner in 5th, Bow in 4th.
Which is slowly unwinding to be very similar to the first race, where 3/4 of the way into the race, Mark Scaife's package seemed to be working very well. So well, in fact, he was the fastest car on the circuit, and we see Gardner pull to the inside there to make sure Scaife can't get down there under brakes.
Well, it's effectively two battles, isn't it, Brad? There's the Bridgestone battle at the front, and there's the battle for everyone else.
Well, there's actually 3. There's the HRT battle, the Bridgestone, and then everybody else.
Larry Perkins, not Larry Perkins, Tony Longhurst is right in behind this trio as well.
Scaife getting very close to the back of the Coke Holden.
So not only is he watching Gardner out the front, but he'll have one eye in the mirror watching Longhurst, wondering where he's going to appear next. So difficult situation to be in, but Scaife's handling it quite well, and all over Gardner.
The two Yokohama cars, Ford and Holden, both hooked up together. Longhurst now has been involved with Yokohama's tyre development program, giving a bit of extra input in terms of what tyres the Falcon requires. And slowly but surely they're getting their act together. I'm sure that mountain at Bathurst is what they're focusing on.
Well, if you look at it from a parity point of view, the two Yokohama leading factory teams, if you will, are running neck and neck, and the Dunlop's on Gardner's car and the Dunlop on Bow's car, and then you look at Bridgestone and HRT just seem to be cruising away in front of Glenn Seaton. So
these guys just passing the start-finish line, 17 laps completed for them, and of course for the front runners, Lowndes and Brock, 3 to go.
Yeah, it's just extraordinary how easy HRT are making this look. They're just another class in this field. Domination that we really haven't seen before in 5-litre touring car racing in the 4 years of operation.
And of course Glenn Seaton running around on his own at the moment. Daylight between the top 2 cars and himself, and then daylight from him back to this group.
So, oh, look at Gardner down the inside of Bow.
very nice move.
He's been trying to set that up for a few laps, but just might have been a bit of a little nudge from Bow on the way out.
And Gardner needs to get back over to the inside to block Bow down the end of this straight as he moves across. Bow's car's sliding around so much. Looks like he's used up his quota of tyres again in this race, and he'd just be hanging on for grim life so he can collect as many points as possible.
Considering he's only got those 8 tyres to pick from, he's got to try and pick the best of the worst for Heat 3, so he's probably going to be in more trouble.
That's true, and without confusing all the viewers with the tyre rule, if you blister one or have a very bad flat spot, you get one new tyre, which is actually quite a bonus, but you know, it needs to be more than just worn out, and so you'd be hoping, I guess, if you were John Bow, that you blister a tyre in this heat.
Mark Scaife looking for a way by Bow here too, if he can get it, because time's running out.
Just a fabulous view on race cam, looking over the shoulder of Scaife, working at the wheel.
JB blocks to the inside, so there's not a hole there for anyone to drive into, and look at the back of that car, it's just shaking around. He's getting wheel spin as he gets on the throttle there, and it just enables Scafey just to catch up that little bit and make his life a bit hard in the next corner.
Last lap board has gone out for the race leaders, Lowndes and Brock. They're past the start-finish line, and this battle just coming round the home turn across the start-finish line with 1 lap to go for them.
See how much kickback through the wheel when they get these things up on the ripple strips. Quite a difficult thing to hang on to. Look at Scaife trying to look down the inside of Bow. He's right alongside.
Doesn't get much closer than this.
Just not enough. He had the bumper to bumper turning in there, but just not enough real estate to make a move. But he's just been climbing all over the back of Bow's car. He could well make a move before this final lap is completed. Tony Longhurst too is well within firing distance. And he's very close to Scaife as they come over the hill for the final time. This will be interesting as they come down to Kolb Corner.
Well, that's taken the heat off Bow.
Yep, Scaife trying to defend his position as well as attack the one in front. He's a very busy boy in Heat 2. Longhurst gets a good quick run out of that corner too. He's right up behind the Sega Commodores. They come over the hill for the final time.
Meantime, HRT are lapping it up, and Lowndes takes the checkered flag 1.5 inches in front of Peter Brock.
The deja vu for HRT. Coke there now. Seaton should have finished third.
He has.
And here comes Bow managing to hold out Scaife. But Wayne Gardner getting the better of the Shell FAI Ford driver.
The championship is just about set in concrete for Craig Lowndes. Winner again from Peter Brock, Glenn Seaton in 3rd spot, then Wayne Gardner, Sean Bow in 5th position.
In 6th, Mark Scaife, Tony Longhurst in 7th, Larry Perkins in 8th, Stephen Richards first the Privateers in 9th, and Stephen Ellery in position 10.
The HRT party continues. Peter Brock, is that the closest finish in touring car history?
Well, I was looking at his door pillars, trying to line them up. They've got a parallax area. I thought, I reckon Craig's got it by about, X amount. So that's good, yeah.
Gee, it must be tempting, though.
Oh, yes, it's tempting. But no, I said that my car worked brilliantly that race, and I thought it was probably a little bit better balanced than Craig's. I could sort of hang in there very easily, and I thought, I might have a go past. No, it's cool. No, Craig's looking good here.
Craig, everything's working well.
Yeah, the cars are fantastic. As Peter said, I think mine was a little bit squirmish than Peter's. I sat there and we sort of slowly pulled away from the rest of them, which was a confident feeling. And
they threw a couple of rocks at me. Just to keep me honest.
Now, a lot has been said about Team HRT and the dominance. Is it a simple case of you guys are doing your homework maybe a little bit better than the others?
Oh, I'm certain of that. I mean, and also you go through periods in race team development where everything comes your way, and at the moment, Bridgestone are giving us sensational tyres, there's no doubt about that. We've got a guy there that's done a lot of work on shockers. The engine guys have cleaned up the engine program and given us a little bit more power. All in all, the team's just working extremely well. And I guess we look at people like Larry, and honestly, a lot of people will be tempted to have a bit of a laugh up their sleeve, but we all go through those periods of time that Larry's going through, and you usually come back harder than ever. So we're hoping to hold the form through Bathurst, of course.
Peter, is it now a case of protecting the kid, making sure playing rear gunner, I guess?
Yes, absolutely, yes. I mean, you try to do that, and a couple of good runs here today have helped me just sit in behind there. But also, it's interesting from a driving point of view. Craig's a hot shot. He's young, he's keen, everything else. So it gives me something to do. Saying I'll hang on to this guy. I'll give him a bit of a needle along, and that keeps the team honest too. I mean, it's not as if we're just cruising around and saying, well, it's all so easy. The team needs to sort of work hard to continue success.
Well, guys, to you and your team, our hats really are off to you. Doing an outstanding job. Peter Brock and Craig Lowndes dominating. Will it be HRT in heat number 3? Join us in a second.